Hey, welcome back, guys, to an episode of the Geek Centurions. It's me, your boy Eli,
It's me, Joe.
and we're back to talk about Bad Batch and Loki, specifically episode 8 of Loki. Bad Batch, and episode 2 of Loki. So it's gonna be a quick, short one. That's because there's nothing really big to talk about. We already did RE3 stuff.
Yeah, this is ironically this is a bit more of a slower episode. Yeah.
Yeah, Bad Batch or Loki.
Yeah, I mean we'll go with Bad Batch since it is a shorter one,
Yeah.
and I mean to be fair, there is some interesting stuff to talk about in this episode.
Oh yeah, no, a certain character shows up, and I'm wanting to talk about him.
Mm-hmm.
So, as we usually tend to do, is we do a quick rundown of the episode and we talk about our thoughts on it. And Joy is going to be the one starting us off. Go for it, Joy.
Okay, so I believe we start back in Kaminoan with the Camino facility.
Mm-hmm.
Where Crosshair's gotten the information that they've found the Bad Batch, and while the Kaminoans there are like, "Yo, listen, all right, these clones are really good. We just need to fix their inhibitor chips, and they'll be ready to go like Crosshair." And I believe I forget. It's not Tarkin. It's the other one.
Yeah, he has a very specific name. I just can't forget him, bro.
Yeah,
He only showed up for one episode, and he was very bland.
yeah, and he's very much like, I don't care anymore. I want them all destroyed. Exterminate them. And he's like, all right, cool. Well, we're gonna do that. But meanwhile, the Bad Batch are essentially sort of just sticking to the. They've realized that the salvagers are found out about them. They've knocked them out with stun guns, and they're sort of like, okay, what's the plan here? And Hunter decides that they should scavenge the ship for various parts and other materials. That way they can pay back Sid. You know, they can clear their debt with Sid, and hopefully with that money they can, go somewhere else.
Yeah, just get out of this. Get out in debt with somebody. You know.
Yeah, yes, and yeah, that's what they do. They sort of scour the Republic ship, find like a cache of weapons and stuff. And it all seems pretty solid until they notice that the ship's sensor that detects when ships are nearby it goes off, and Crosshairs is here arrives with a whole like platoon of clones, like 3 ships worth of clones, and are basically just crossing, just walking around the entire ship, just trying to find the Bad Batch. And it's like, all right, we need to figure things out. Tech tries to hack the comms and sort of avoid the patrols, but Crosshairs knows the Bad Batch. Of course you guys would.
Yeah, I've been with you guys for like what 10 years now or something like that.
Yeah,
like my whole life.
Yeah, like I know how you guys operate.
Hunter, we talk about plans together. I know what you think.
Yeah, so very much they have them cornered.
You're gonna move left. I'm gonna move left.
Yeah, they have them cornered in I think one of the bays where there's like artillery guns. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Omega tries to have a bit of a heart to heart with Crosshairs. Like, listen, it's the inhibitor chip, Crosshairs. You can't help doing the things you do. And Crosshair is like, shoot the girl.
Just make her shut up. I don't know what she's talking about.
Like she's talking too much sense. I gotta kill her. It's like, hey, yo, Crosshairs, it's between you and me. All right, don't involve the girl in this. And Tech decides to hack the guns, have them fire, and at least helps them escape a little bit. But Crosshairs is very much like, nope, they're not getting away. So they somehow the Bad Batch decide to try to navigate through the ship's engines, which aren't operational, but Tech,
being the tech guy,
had turned the ship on. At least is functional, and now Crosshair has at least one of his clones or whatever, just ready to set the engine on to pretty much bait up. Either give them 2 choices: die in the engine, being burned alive,
or get shot at.
Yeah, get shot by Crosshairs, who's waiting outside the engine exhaust. But the Bad Batch go with the third option: use the explosives they've had that they're gonna sell off, blow up the engine, so that way they can escape that way. And it does work, and it leaves Crosshairs because the explosion causes the engine to tilt in a certain direction, and he and a lot of his clones get burned.
Oh Jesus, yeah. I thought he was gonna get some serious scars, but I don't know. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't.
He definitely had to get bandaged up a little bit.
Yeah, man looked like a mummy. While they're escaping, we run into a certain character from the good old Clone Wars show, Cad Bane, who's like, aside from like Boba and Jango, he's like the bounty hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Clint Eastwood motherfucker kind of thing.
He's very like everything turned into a western as soon as that guy showed up.
Oh no, yeah, and like he was one of the baddest dudes back in Clone Wars. He was one of the the Jedi were scared of his ass basically because he's like, oh, he can go toe to toe with us, and he's just a normal like alien dude. That's scary, and just seeing him just come in, I'm like, whoa, what happened?
Yeah,
and later when he came in, I was like, oh shit, Cad Bane, holy fuck.
Yeah, because
Hunter, you're dead.
Yeah, because originally Crosshairs decided, hey, they're not off the ship. They must have their ship somewhere. Let's send some clones there. They had it surrounded, but of course, Cad Bane showed up, killed all those clones, and was waiting for the Bad Batch to show up. Sadly, not all. It was just Hunter and Omega, and Cad Bane's after Omega, and who could have possibly sent Cad Bane after Omega? What characters want Omega so bad? I wonder who. But it turned into a bit of a standoff with Hunter and Cad Bane, and sadly, Hunter gets shot right in the chest, and Cad Bane takes Omega hostage, basically. And by the time Hunter wakes up, like, the rest of the Bad Batch are back, trying to escape into the ship, avoid the clones. And Hunter tells the rest of the crew, he got her. He took Omega. Who? A bounty hunter.
I was gonna say the way that his wake up shot, it's all POV, and it's shot really great.
Yeah, I think it's probably the first time I've ever seen the inside of a clone trooper mask, a helmet, which, I mean, looks kind of interesting. But yeah, that's sort of where the episode ends, and yeah, we Omega has been captured and potentially on the way back to the Kaminoan facility because the Kaminoans really need Omega. For what reason? We still don't know. Maybe we'll find out in the next episode.
Yeah. And really, this is probably the most. Like I said in our previous ones, the Bad Batch is becoming very straightforward. And that's not inherently a bad thing. We essentially, but stuff is happening and stuff becomes more and more apparent, especially with Omega. Because remember, we were building up with the whole, Crushers, basically going insane with the inhibitor chip. And now we're coming into head with Omega's potential importance, because there's a reason. There has to be a big reason as to why the Kaminoans want her bad. So we're probably gonna, go into that bit. I think this is my big brain working, is that the bounty hunters are all gonna fight over Omega.
Yeah, because I assume there's a substantial reward. We're probably gonna see the return of oh my god, I forgot her name.
Fennec.
Fennec, yeah. We'll probably see Fennec probably show up and fight Cad Bane to take Omega because she probably wants the reward, and Omega probably trusts her more than Cad Bane. Because, I mean, he's a pretty bad dude, that Cad Bane.
Man, I just love that guy.
I like his voice. It sounds so cool.
He's always had a very good voice. I mean, he's Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, more
he's the man with no name.
Yeah, I mean, he does have a name. He's like Cad Bane.
He's Cad Bane.
Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, like we said, I think last week. I think this is sort of, I guess, the start of, like, I guess the big next plot point, because like the inhibitor chips was probably the big plot behind the scenes, because like the rest of the Bad Batch had inhibitor chips, but they weren't affecting them. But it was setting up that Wrecker might be going insane, and then of course when he does go a little crazy before they finally get the inhibitor chips out of them. And now, with that threat gone, there needs to be a new threat. What's that new threat? Omega's been captured. We gotta get her back. Right?
Yeah. And really, that's basically it's gonna be our next few episodes. Really, I think, because I kind of would be disappointed if it ended by the next episode they got her back.
Yeah, no, I think this is definitely gonna be the next sort of like little
overarching arc.
Like a little arc we have, like trying to get Omega back. Because I mean, I imagine like Cad Bane's not gonna be easy to catch.
Oh God, no. He's Cad Bane.
Yeah.
A man like that, you can't just use him for one episode, one or two. You got to use him well. He was like a whole season's worth of plot point right there, back in Clone Wars. But no, it's still Bad Batch still pretty solid. Nothing much to say.
Yeah, I think this was a great episode.
I think I mentioned this in the last episode that I tend to forget when this show's on.
I guess. I mean, it comes out like every Friday, right?
Yeah, every Friday. But like sometimes I'm like, oh wait, it's Friday. Oh yeah, Bad Batch is out. I'll watch it later.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm not as invested, but I'm like, there's no real like freaking incentive to go watch aside from us doing this.
I guess potentially with this plot starting up, maybe there is for you. I don't know.
Maybe.
But yeah, that's sort of Bad Batch, and now we jump into Loki.
And oh boy, Loki.
Yeah, this is the second episode. Pretty interesting.
A lot of stuff is happening.
Yeah, a lot of stuff starts to happen in this episode. We sort of start off with Loki basically at a desk job at this point. Just sort of having to learn the ins and outs of the TVA. Talking with the little mascot. I don't know the name of the mascot.
I think his name is Timey or something.
I don't know. That sounds a little dumb.
Who's voiced by Tara Strong, by the way. I found that out the other day.
That sounds about right.
Did you hear it?
Yeah, I can hear that. I mean, for a small role like that, they probably would have gotten a voice actor. Just not like a.
Also, is it sentient?
I mean, yeah. Loki asks the questions like, "Are you like alive, or are you just like some sort of recording or something?" And she kind of just goes like, "Kind of both," So I think she is she has her own like personality, but she definitely, I guess she has a mind of her own.
Because she responds to him. If it was a recording, it wouldn't respond.
Yeah, no, it's a bit of both. I think she'll talk. She's mainly there to just explain all this shit about the TVA, but she does have a bit of a mind of her own.
Okay, because the whole. I'm not saying it was like bad. That's I'm like. Now I'm starting to question stuff.
I mean, it's this.
And again, it's a comic book property. I should learn when to put my questions to the side and just accept.
Yeah, I mean, it's a crazy place. There they have so many Infinity Stones. I mean, the place is weird. But yeah, there's another attack on their Minutemen in a Renaissance fair, right? It's kind of funny because when they show up, they're like, search the area, and there's just one lady who's working there. It's like, you're not even. Why are you dressed like this? Is a medieval fair. You know how hard my job is?
I feel for the Ren Fair people. I feel for them. Heck, okay, I've been to the Ren Fair once, and I'm gonna say this right now, most people do not commit to the whole dressing up like it's medieval times.
Well, who has the time to make those costumes?
Well, no, I'm not saying like normal people. I'm saying like.
Oh, you mean the people working there?
No. I'm talking people who would go there dressed up as well.
Oh, I mean...
Motherfucker, I saw like 3 Doctor Who's.
What are you talking about? Doctor Who just wanted to go, back to medieval times with his little friends or whatever,
We've clearly never seen Doctor Who. I'll tell you that right now.
I haven't. It's not for me.
It's not for me.
Yeah.
The fans scared me away.
Well, I guess for you maybe. I just never cared. Yeah, no. So Loki attacks the Minutemen there
with good old I Need a Hero.
Yeah, which was, I guess, interesting. I guess like those Minutemen definitely needed a hero, and it was not Loki, because Loki kidnaps one of them, and they assume that they were keeping them hostage because Mobius, I forget the name of that one Minutemen. She's a woman, African American. I don't know if they even gave her a name.
I think they did. Apparently, she's played by a very well respected actor. I didn't recognize because I'll be honest, the way the show is tinted, it's a little. I cannot have a hard time seeing people's faces.
I think it's also kind of hard, mainly because a lot of these Minutemen characters all wear the same uniform.
Yeah.
So it makes sense in terms of the context of the universe, but it does make it hard sometimes to figure out who's who. Sometimes. But yeah, basically they're going to investigate, and Loki joins along because Mobius is like, all right, we got the ace in the hole, Loki here. He's gonna figure this all out. We're about to do some CSI crime scene investigation, and they get to the tent where the Minutemen got attacked, and they sort of just Loki sort of just goes off on a little no, all right, you guys, we can't leave the tent because if we're dealing with me here, I would have been set. This is a trap. I'd be setting up an ambush outside the tent to get all you guys. All right, this is serious. This Loki's pretty crazy. You know what we should do? You should take me to the Time Lords. And let me talk to them about this stuff. And Mobius is like, "You're bullshit. No, you're bullshit.
Bullshit. No,
you're bullshit. Yeah, you're bullshitting us.
Motherfucker, I know you.
Yeah, like
I read your files.
Yeah,
I know you. You're the trickster god.
Yeah, like no, that's just pack it up, reset the little set the reset chargers, and let's get out of here.
God, I love that scene.
Yeah, it's a very much like no, I'm not buying your bullshit, which I think is the nice thing about Loki is that we have this dynamic between Mobius and Loki himself. Mobius is very much the straight guy. He's like, hey, I'm not gonna take any of your bullshit. All right, I know you. I read your file. I've seen all the things you can do. I ain't trusting you for a second.
No.
I want you to do just the one job. Is just to help us catch you. All right.
That's the only reason I have you here. That's the only reason I haven't killed you.
Yeah, pretty much. And they sort of has he sort of has Loki sort of comb through all the attacks that Loki this other Loki has done on the Minutemen, in order to just sort of all right, here, listen, just look over to these files. Maybe you'll find something that we haven't noticed, and just try to figure out where could this Loki be hiding out. So Loki sort of just reads through these files. He gets a little bit annoyed and about the library environment, right? People just shushing at him. Is like, shh, you. How about that? Yeah.
It's like every library joke ever.
Yeah. And so Loki decides to go through some files, and he notices the Ragnarok file. That what happens to Asgard at the end. Ragnarok happens. It's funny too because I think I noticed in the file it mentions the Revengers. Because if you remember in the movie, I
didn't catch that. I'll be honest.
Yeah, Thor, talked about you, Hulk, Valkyrie, we're gonna be the Revengers. Yeah, that's what we're gonna be. So I kind of funny in the file it mentions that line, the Revengers. Loki then gets sort of a light bulb moment. It's like, oh, okay. So he heads back to Mobius. He's having a bit of a lunch break, and he's like, "Don't mess with my salad, man." It's like, no, I need this for a metaphor, because essentially Loki explains that he feels that this Loki, the one causing all this havoc, is basically hiding out in a bunch of apocalypses, world-ending events, essentially, in these areas, right? Because explaining how the time reset things work.
Yes.
Where basically usually they just reset whatever happens, and whatever is going to happen there just gets reset, and nothing really affects the timeline in a grander scheme. So Loki sort of
deduces
that if I were to go back to a apocalyptic event where I just did a bunch of random stuff, but the entire place was gonna go to shit anyway, then that's not gonna appear on your time thing, because whatever I did there was just gonna end up, being destroyed anyway.
Yep. And so he goes to Pompeii.
Yeah, to test the theory out, they go to Pompeii, where Loki just starts.
Which, is it an apocalyptic event? Maybe from their perspective?
Well, I think the way Loki puts it is that by apocalyptic, I think they mean like this area gets pretty much destroyed and there are no survivors.
Mm-hmm.
Which Pompeii, yeah, volcano explodes, everyone in the city dies, right? So yeah, and Loki sort of just goes around messing around with everybody speaking in Greek. It's like the volcano's gonna blow up. Live your lives, and they're just like, what? Wait, what is he going on about? And then the volcano explodes, and they're like, oh god! It's like, yeah. And Mobius checking his little little thing, time thingy watch or whatever, just checking for any abnormalities. He's like, there's no abnormalities here. He's like, they just essentially proven the theory. So Mobius decides to go to his boss. I believe her name is Ray Slayer.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's a bit confusing. Sort of tells her this, and it's like, so you want me to send a? Well, no, actually, first of all, then they essentially go back to, I think, the candy bar that the kid from the first episode in France got, and Mobius sort of like, all right, maybe with you here we can figure out what's up with this. Maybe we can go figure out an apocalyptic event where this Loki's hiding out in.
Yeah.
Where this candy bar came from, which came from like a time period like in the 2040s to 2050s. Like that sort of future bit. So they sort of like scour through various sort of like natural disasters and stuff that wiped out places. And they find like a place, I believe it's in Alabama? Like some sort of like on the Gulf Coast of the United States, where there's a huge hurricane that wipes out an entire city.
Yeah, with
Roxxon.
Yeah, it's Roxxon. It's like a future Roxxon, but yeah.
Yeah, like a future Roxxon supermarket. I think Roxcart.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah. And so, Mobius then goes to his boss and is like, hey, listen, we need to send a Minutemen platoon. I need to go there. Loki needs to go there. And I think this is where we catch Loki. To which she's very much like, are you sure you want to trust Loki? The dude messed up our last mission. It's like, listen, all right, I just got a gut feeling that this is where we're going to get Loki, And she's like, all right, but if this falls flat on its face again, it's all on you. So, yeah, they decide to, this whole Minutemen platoon with the, with our sort of main Minutemen guard leading the charge with Mobius and Loki. They head into the supermarket, and she's very much like, no, all right, Mobius, you go with the rest of the crew over there.
Yeah,
we'll check the greenhouse. I'm taking Loki with me. He's like, no. Loki's my responsibility. I gotta, we gotta be together.
Yeah,
and Loki's like, no, it's okay. Let me try to earn you guys' trust here. All right, I'll go with her. And so yeah, they start to go together. They meet this one dude who's just shopping. He's like, could this be you? And Loki's like, I mean, I would have probably worn a suit, but yeah, probably this could be me. Because obviously going and shopping at a supermarket when there's a major like hurricane and being like, it's a hurricane, so it's like, when the hurricane's right at like on the shore, like coming in hard. Nah, this guy is definitely, nothing else. And at first it appears that she sort of just knocks her out, but there's this green little glow that travels from him to her, and it turns out that she's being manipulated by this other Loki. And it's like, oh. So you're the one that, the TVA has gotten to try to track me down. It's like, oh, I'm talking to Loki? I'm talking to me, basically.
Yeah.
Well, she's like, and she in the body, Loki in this woman's body is like, really? Because I feel like you're the me here. And it's like, okay. And they sort of walk around the supermarket just trying to, like, Loki's just trying to figure out what this other Loki wants. Right? And also just explaining that, Loki's main plan here was to buy into the trust of the TVA so that he could get to the overseers of time, and basically just manipulate his way to controlling the TVA. And this Loki is very much like, that sounds like a decent plan, but personally, I'm not into it. And he's like, wait, why? Come on, I've been trying to kind of help you out here. I was the one stalling them in the tents that you could escape. And it's like, yeah, sure, I guess, but I got my own plan going here, man.
Why would I follow you?
Yeah, what would you benefit? What do I benefit from all of this? And Loki's very confused. He's like, what? I'm trying to rule the world stuff here. Come on. And very much this Loki's kind of had enough of our main Loki here, and controls the body of a large man and starts beating the shit out of this Loki. And it turns out we do sort of through this we sort of learn that this Loki is very much has set up some charges, the reset charges, around this entire supermarket, and basically was leading Loki and the rest of these Minutemen into a trap in order to take them all out in one go. Right? And Loki does his best to try to stop it, and it's what's the deal here? What do you want? I don't get any of this. This is a little weird even for me. Now I kind of understand how Thor feels whenever I do this stuff.
It's like, you realize?
Yeah, well, I mean, when you talk to your parallel self from another universe doing the same things you do to other people.
Jesus, no wonder I'm so pathetic.
Yeah, man, I can't believe I'm that annoying. But yeah, sort of the big reveal here by the end is once the detonators all start to charge, Loki, this other Loki, removes the enchantment that was controlling the man, and then appears in front of Loki. And it turns, and this Loki takes off their hood and is revealed to be a female Loki. Yeah,
I saw it coming a mile away.
Honestly, yeah, I kind of. Part of me was like, if they're not gonna show Loki's face at the end of the first episode, this Loki that's sort of messing around with the timeline, I was gonna be like, yeah, this might be some parallel Loki, maybe a female Loki, and and it's neat, it's interesting. I mean, Loki's a shapeshifter by nature, so
yeah, I mean, even in Norse mythology, he's.
I mean, yeah, Loki will just, he'll just be whatever he wants to be sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
goddamn horse.
Yeah, I don't think we should get into that story.
No, we're not.
Because that's just a weird stuff. But let's just say, Loki does some things as a horse, and it turns out we're not going to discuss it. But yeah, it's a female Loki. She sort of sets the place to go off soon, and all these reset chargers are starting to about to go off. Mobius and the rest of the TVA think that Loki's essentially has double crossed them, and they're trying to chase him down. And this Loki decides to open one of these time portal things that they usually use to leave and enter different eras. Leaves, and our Loki decides to follow her through, and that's where we end the episode.
And all I gotta say is, Jesus Christ, there's a lot of stuff going on in this episode. I can go on for a good 20 minutes. Not really. I wouldn't say 20 minutes exactly, but first of all, can I tell you about what people are thinking? More theories for these shows?
I mean, I guess you can lay it on me. I mean, I don't really have any sort of big theories going on here.
Okay, so the big theory is that that's not a female Loki, it is actually Enchantress.
The Enchantress?
Yes.
I mean, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, it's I don't know. Kind of like the idea of female Loki.
Yeah, because I feel like, if anything, this could... Because essentially what... Actually, no, I misspoke earlier, because the reset charges don't blow up the place. She's essentially sending them into different places in the timeline, causing a
Yeah.
big, like, these weird, like, branching points. Essentially, she's essentially bombed the sacred timeline.
Yeah.
I misspoke there. My bad. Just ignore that point. But basically, stuff still applies. She escapes through the the little time door thing, and Loki follows her. But yeah, I think I honestly thought that's kind of interesting what you said about her being actually Enchantress, because I mean she also does a lot of crazy cookie stuff.
But mostly just to get Thor's attention because she really wants to bang him.
I mean, yeah, which would be kind of, I guess, odd in this show considering Thor's not in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless she somehow randomly appears in Thor: Love and Thunder.
I mean, it's possible, right?
I mean, with the title like Love and Thunder, you would imagine.
Yeah. But yeah, if anything, I think it's more neat if she's like she's from like another universe kind of deal.
Though I will say, bombing the timelines. I think we're gonna learn more about the idea of multiverse and Loki than anything else. This may be the beginning of like how we see the multiverse be formed.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where that's where it might lead to. I mean, if we have a female Loki and if it continues to be like a female Loki and not some sort of twist of, I'm actually Enchantress the entire time kind of thing, then yeah, I think this show, more than I think WandaVision, because a lot of people wanted WandaVision to be that show to expand on the, like, delve into multiverse stuff because of the appearance of Pietro and stuff. Here, though, that might actually be the case considering how the Sacred Timeline came to be, right?
Yeah.
And stuff. They essentially took all these timelines and merged them into one giant timeline. And, the whole point of the TVA is to make sure there aren't any abnormalities that change the flow of time and create their own separate timelines, right? So, yeah, we could see this show could at least introduce the concept of the multiverse in the MCU, which could potentially be expanded on in the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
So yeah,
which could be the overarching thing throughout the more than just Phase 4, hopefully. Because I feel like if it's just the multiverse for just Phase 4, it'd be really kind of like make it the whole thing, Lead it to something like Secret Wars, because that's what happened in the 2015 building him make it Secret Wars kind of thing. I will say, aside from those two notes, just really, really great episode, man. It's been interesting throughout the whole, watch. There's a lot of interesting conversations, especially with Mobius and Loki, about Loki being essentially, he's like, you guys think you're smart, but I'm always 10 steps ahead of you. And Mobius being like, yeah, but I can call your bluff, man.
Yeah, like, it's an like I said, it's an interesting dynamic the two have. Mobius being sort of this very straight man to Loki's wacky shenanigans. And also, I mean, like, Loki's usual tricks not working on him, mainly because he's sort of like, one, that he knows him like super well at this point, and two, like, he just, I guess when it comes to like, the Sacred Timeline thing, he's like, I generally know what's gonna happen, right?
Yeah, and I will say that just some of the dialogue is really great. Like, there was a moment that you and I were talking, because some people have been noting that this particular conversation between Mobius and Loki is something that I didn't catch it at first until the second rewatch and people mentioning it online, and then you came in and was like, that sounds very similar to what people have. It's the idea of like, is there a god? Should I really follow your three lizard time lords or whatever?
Yeah.
And I'm like, are they lizards? They don't look like lizards.
No, I think that's just a joke he makes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the Mobius and Loki have this sort of conversation of very much of Loki's still kind of very much like, you realize all of this time stuff you're talking about, this whole TVA stuff is just insane, right? Like, these three magic time wizards or whatever created the sacred timeline and created you and everybody else at the TVA to just run it and make sure everything stays fine. That's a little wacky, isn't it? And Mobius is very much like, yeah, but I mean, look at you. I mean, where did you come from? You know, like a frost giant, and who raised you? Odin. Oh yeah, Odin, the sky god. You know, raised by a bunch of created by some frost giants. I mean, listen to you. You know, all things you say are equally as confounding, right? So I mean, yeah, it's like, yeah, there's definitely an undertone of, like, I guess, religion in a sense, or at least how how human civilizations throughout the centuries and stuff have, like, their own creation stories of, like, how they came to be and stuff like that.
I will say, I would love it if they do something about religion, because, like, in the Marvel universe, they don't shy away from religion. Like, I'm not saying, like, oh, religion is bullshit, or, like, there is a god, but just, like, almost everyone has a affiliation with a religion, whether it be, they're part of their character or not. Like, before this episode, we talked about, Daredevil's a Catholic, Eddie Brock, Venom, is Catholic. He was raised Catholic as hell. Magneto's Jewish. He was a Holocaust survivor.
I mean, yeah, all that stuff does play into a good chunk of characters.
Yeah, and Reed Richards is an atheist, and it's not a religion, but that kind of gives you the idea of, like, how Reed Richards is. He's a man of science. Everything can be solved with science. He found different particles, alternate dimensions, pocket dimensions. Like, for him, like, what, the existence of God? Yeah, sure, whatever. I don't care. I don't believe in him.
All right, yeah.
And we still have, like, different people, and we have Thor and Loki, who are named after the Norse gods, but it's the question, like, are they really gods? Are they aliens or demigods? Or we also have Hercules and the rest of the pantheon of that, so on and so forth. So it's like, I mean, I don't think they're gonna do it. I'll say that right now, because that's a little touchy.
Yeah, and I think that doesn't really. It'd be a weird tangent to go on in a show like this. I feel.
Well, I wouldn't say that part of the show, but more like something that they could eventually do at one time. But I'm like, I don't think they'll do it because it's weird. I think it'd be a little too weird. Disney tends to play it safe. Didn't like to do anything that would seem off. But unless it's a character whose whole point is, like I said, Daredevil, he's Catholic. Magneto, he's a Jewish Holocaust survivor. Like, that's part of their character.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, I think they'll do something like that. But they wouldn't go. I don't think they'll go that far deep into, like, religion as a thing. That's what I'm saying.
Like a commentary on
yes.
Yeah, I don't think that
they will not do that.
Yeah, I don't really know if anyone wants that either, or who even suggested something like that. Like,
well, it was like when people started talking about it again, then I rewatched that scene. I'm like, man, I would love to see, like, more conversation about this, specifically because of the Marvel Universe. Because the Marvel Universe is so interesting when it comes to the idea of, like, is there a god or isn't there a god? We got a fucking thunder god over here, fucking Hercules demigod over there, and then you have something like all the one above all and the one below all, and then I'm going off tangent now.
Yeah. But but anyways, I think this episode, I agree with you, it's pretty great. And how many episodes is this series supposed to be? Like 8?
I want to say it's 8.
Yeah. So, I mean, heck, Loki following the female Loki into that, time thing, probably going to set up some interesting stuff.
You know what I would like to see? More different iterations of Loki. Especially since they teased that at the beginning.
Yeah, because they do show off, like, just various designs of Loki or whatever.
I would like to see one where it's, like, classic comic book Loki, like the green, super green suit, and, like, the weird horn helmet thing. Like, not the one he has in, like, in the movies and, like, later on in the comics, but more like his OG look. Like that one. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, that would be interesting. I won't lie.
Also, I think it was also something we forgot to mention in the previous episode is that they show off him killing Phil Coulson, but they never tell him like, you thought you killed Phil, but he's still alive, man. He's right over there.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think Loki would care anyway.
True, but it would be like a nice little like nod to, hey guys, Agent of Shield canon. It's not really.
I mean, it kind of is.
Kind of was.
Kind of is. I mean, I think what is it? The helicarrier they get at the end of
season 2.
Yeah, they use it for Age of Ultron at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I believe. I mean, it's kind of connected, right? But you know, that's whatever, I guess. But yeah, overall, solid second episode. Definitely wondering what the hell's gonna happen next. You know, it leaves us on a pretty solid cliffhanger, especially because all these branching timelines are starting to appear, and send all these Minutemen to like correct as much of this shit as possible, you know. And who knows? And maybe we'll learn the true motivations behind this second female Loki.
Mm-hmm. If she is a female Loki.
I mean, I'd be kind of weirded out if they just do a bait and switch with that, but I mean, I don't know.
I'm gonna think so. I'm gonna think they did it with Agatha Harkness.
I mean, I guess, but like that one was more like you could kind of see it coming because they leave hints that Agatha was definitely weird.
Yeah, true enough. But yeah, I think it's a solid episode, and I think that's where we're gonna end it there. I say solid, but I mean it's a great episode. And yeah, so thank you guys for checking us out. That was an awkward way to end it, but no, thank you for listening to our episode. If you want to know where you can find us, we do have a bunch of social media links at the Geek Centurions. You can search them on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Again, at the Geek Centurions. And if you go to Instagram, where we're the most active, you'll find a link tree to all the podcasts and sites that we are fully part of, like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Google, you know, all that kind of stuff. You know, Pandora and all that good stuff. And we also have a link to the YouTube for all the audio listeners out there that can help, that, you know, want to support us in any form of way. You can support us there on the YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon, all that good stuff, you know, the YouTube is known for. And we also have a Patreon that you can support us in any form of way. We totally understand if you choose not to. It's not that big of a deal. Just know that it would be greatly appreciated. And yeah, that should be all. Did I miss anything? Nope.
No, I don't think so.
All right, guys. We'll be back with something else next week. And we might have some special announcements. So, again, check out our social medias for all that kind of announcement that you'll see soon coming up. And, yeah, it's been me, your boy Eli.
It's me, Joe.
Yeah, guys, have a good one. Peace.